會修改。我哋你而家咧又用翻理性對話呢一招咧，好似學聯上次同政府對話咁樣，講完拖完就冇呢回事嘅。
我嗱，大家可以唔同意我意見，不過我係講俾大家聽我嘅方向。第一，
鄭醫生，你今次係唔夠票嘅，你永遠都唔會夠票。
我唔相信，我用嗰講個時間表係唔夠票。我好相信我提出嘅時間表，我係會夠票嘅。
咁唔夠票點先？
咁我只可以盡做嘅啫，我唔可以應承我一定做到啊嘛，係
咪
啊？
醫生12月，你嗰張做主席啊！
若果咁樣做法，我到12月，唔係12月，我個 term 係至到11月6號嘅啫。
咁之後你個張，
若果我係可以同大家嗱，第一樣嘢，如果你話推個時間表，我好相信，如果大家冷靜啲，我盡量可以下次我推呢啲人。
大家記唔記得民情報告林鄭交俾中央啊？
我喺度做嘢，我係我自己做嘢嘅方法，推到 council member 同意嘅時間表係我可以盡量做得到嘅，呢個唔需要任何人。
所以咪話你失效咯，你點都唔夠票嘅，根本呢班人都唔係港大人，佢哋都唔係學生着想。
阿小姐，阿同學，我同意你講。
我明白你難處。
我同意你講，但係我想話俾大家聽，我係真係頭先都已經有信心推動咗個時間表嘅。
最後咪跌咗。
個時間表未提出嚟啊！如果你俾多10分鐘我已經過咗呢個時間表啦頭先。
等埋首富呢個你都 defeat 唔到，其實真係冇咩。
點解要等埋首富嘅？
我相信呢樣嘢我都解咗好多次啦，你哋可以唔接受。第一樣嘢我要，你話你哋頭先有人話我，你又講翻以前嗰啲嘢，我係想重新講一次。Search Committee 係6月30號先將個文交嚟校委會。之前點解拖咗咁耐？我答唔到大家，因為我完全冇參與去睇 Search Committee，所以校務委員會第一次有機會可以睇個文件就係6月30號，呢個第一點。但係當日係我哋冇傾到一樣，因為有幾個校務委員會同事就話：喂，我哋想傾咗，有冇需要叫埋新嘅首席校長俾意見？
合理嘅呢樣嘢都未知話邊個人，點解就要等埋佢咧？
對唔住啊，你話合理唔合理，我唔敢同你。
咁佢哋話太陽等西邊升起先至討論。
咁所以我頭先咪話俾大家聽，我有個方案咯。而家我方案就係話，我哋 set 咗個時間表，若果校務委員真係個首席校長真係嚟到，我哋問佢要嚟唔到，我都個時間表博取咯。
原本就係唔應該有呢樣嘢作為任何嘅考慮。
咁嗱，咁而家要階段，我哋冇講翻以前啦。我頭先打開聲講喎，大家希望向前睇。
呢個理由唔成立，
其實學生底線都好清楚㗎啦。我哋俾咗半年時間，我唔理咩時間表，已經俾咗半年啦，6個月。你冇攞文件係6月30號。
同學，啱，你俾段時間。不過你記住，我哋先講一樣，呢個係可以喺我哋嘅任何 record 睇得出嚟嘅。Search Committee 係6月30號先要 ready。
今日幾多號？我想請問今日幾多號？
今日係7月。
你有1個月時間。
唔係上一次。
你睇唔到文件？我知道你好忙啊。
你聽，唔係完全唔係咁解，樣嘢有程序㗎嘛。
我明啊。
6月30號先拎上嚟，我哋可以6、30號嗰日做決定。
梁生主席，
係，你俾我講埋先啦，好啊？我哋可以6、30號有決定，但係當6、30號嘅時候，有人提議係話將呢件事拖前，等於今日有5個 council member 提議係要將上一次嗰個決定翻來一樣啫嘛。我冇理由唔可以唔俾佢哋傾噶嘛。今日等於我一樣，我話俾翻佢哋傾啊嘛。我冇阻到佢哋傾呢樣嘢。上一次佢哋傾係因為當時我哋有個感覺，就話8月可以選到啲人，即係首席副校長啊。咁樣8月選到人，我哋咪即係可以上馬，叫個首席副校長問佢意見，咪搞呢個當時呢個係當時嘅個理由啦。你話呢個理由係 ridiculous， 我唔會同你拗翻，我亦都解俾當時嘅理由係咁解，係嘛？好啊，
劉主席，想問一個問題，啱啱講啦，時間表就會根據到底校委會可唔可以喺根據你嘅時間表嘅時間之內去選到 provost， 跟住再決定點樣去揀？
改唔到。我話俾你，我個時間表咧，頭先預備提議俾校委會咧，希望我哋通過咧，就係、選唔選到 provost 都係嗰個時間表去選副校長。
咁你可唔可以清晰講下個時間表其實係想點樣咧？
我個時間表係盡快咯，但係我冇有機會同我今日。
但係個問題，我哋已經等咗半年。
我係希望2-3個月之內。
今日就委任。
唔係咁個問題，你頭先個 consideration 係出於你覺得抌埋首富呢樣嘢係之前嘅一個決定啊嘛，而抌埋首富呢個理由已經係廣泛地被社會認為呢個 ridiculous 嘅理由啊嘛。咁任何基於呢個理由而作出嚟嘅方案，例如2個月嘅方案，都係一個唔合理嘅方案。因為如果當呢個2個月嘅理由，如果得抌埋首富呢個理由唔成立嘅話，點解唔係今日就討論咧？
同學。
係咯，我覺得你今日你可以由今日下個委員 defeat 咗委任呢個人。
同學，任何嘢理據都有你點睇，人哋點睇嘅。我唔可以話我講嘅理據一定啱。
咁喺而家呢個情況底下，呢個票數底下，其實佢話太陽等太陽西邊升起先。
咁我唔係有個，所以我個方案就話我唔理你等到首席啦，我都要有一個時間表咯。呢個係我最提議噶嘛。即時換個位嚟講，我唔理你個理由係咩啦，到嗰日都拎出嚟決定啦。同學。世界上我一樣嘢肯定嘅，不過我只可以盡力做。我亦都有相信我頭先係有好多我啲 counsellor覺得呢個係一個可行嘅方案啦。跟住再轉，我唔知啊。今日呢件事發生點會發生，我唔會知道。但係我係只可以應承俾大家咧，我係盡力推呢個方案，因為我覺得呢樣嘢係可以。其實唔係因為社會壓力，係因為我想 Peter Benson 盡快有個 full team， 呢個係最重要。
So, 2 requests. You have to speak English to save Kat some work, and also please 1 person at a time. I just wanted to say a couple of things. So, I hope it's well understood by all of you and by everybody that's heard me say anything about Hong Kong U since I came here that I have great respect for the University of Hong Kong, and I consider it very important that my job and the job of my senior team is to do the best for the university. There is a certain, so that's Professor Paul Tam. So we have an interim provost. Regarding the other post, the VP ASR, as Council Chairman just said, there's a process that's set down in the regulations of the university that has to be gone through. We've done this for 4 of the 5 vice presidents already. 4 of them are already complete. 2 of them are, well, certainly one of them is here. I don't know where the other one is. No, anyway, 2 of them have already started their jobs. Another 2 are about to start. One starts in a week's time. One starts in a month's time. So my senior team is getting together. The 5th of those 5 posts has not yet gone through the full process. The full process requires a discussion at council and a decision by council. So council, and under the rules of the organisation, the rules that I have to operate under, the council has the final decision, and the council has the right to accept or reject the recommendation of the search committee. Those are the rules of the organisation. What happened in June was that council decided not to discuss the paper, and what happened tonight was that decision was confirmed by another debate and vote. So it's very important that I'm responsible. It's very important that I behave as a responsible member of an organisation, and that part of that responsibility includes abiding by the decisions of the governing body. And irrespective of whether you agree or I agree, the decision of the governing body has to be the ultimate decision. You may disagree with the reasons, and there can be a debate about the reasons, and as obviously there already has been a debate about the reasons that have been given. But the fact is that the governing body has the ultimate say. And at the moment, just be calm for a minute and think exactly what the governing body's done. The governing body has decided not to discuss the recommendation. That's what they've done at the moment. They haven't decided to reject the recommendation. They haven't decided to stop the job or get rid of the job, or they haven't decided any of those things. What they've decided in 2 consecutive meetings is to not discuss the paper. So that's the facts. Those are the facts. On the other issues that I know you're concerned about, the composition of the UN, but it was well over a year ago. It's not a reaction to current events. That report, as I understand it, has been virtually finished and will be presented to the UGC very soon. I think it's September. And at some point after that, will be presented to the heads of universities, the HUCOM, of which I'm the convener, and I presume also be made public. I don't know for sure what's going to happen to the report. But the point is there is a report by an external expert into the issues of governance, councils, the relationship between councils and management, the things that councils should do and the things that management should do, how the council is composed, what kind of selection there should be for council members, what kind of induction and training there should be for council members. All of these issues will be considered by that report. And so I know you have an appetite for changing some of these things, changing some of the composition of the council, changing the way some of these things are done. Well, just around the corner, within a very short time, there will be an authoritative report that, I don't know what it's going to say, but it is a report into these issues. And I would suggest that you and I wait until we see what's in that report and see whether we agree with it or not, and have a debate about it, and see whether the government or UGC or anybody else wants to change things as a result of that report. I can't tell you what the report's going to say, and I can't tell you what the reaction will be, but I can tell you for a fact that there is a report into these issues that you're concerned about. And the important thing is it's being done by an independent, authoritative expert. It's not being done by me or by CH or by Arthur Lee or anybody else. It's being done by an external person. So we can anticipate that it will be fair-minded and based on somebody's experience of university management. So those are the things I really wanted to say. I'm very happy to answer any questions, but they do have to be in English and they do have to be one at a time.
Maybe I think would have what Professor Prism have mentioned, that we would recommend all to speak in English because we respect everyone here, because we want to have an effective and direct communication between all members here. And then the second one is when you want to, if you want to raise any question or tell any comments from you, you should raise up your hands and then let me let you speak, because we want to have an effective communication. So it is what we would want.
Dr. Lang, I want to ask you a question. According to the report of 852 Post today, Professor Johan said that he knew the search committee had recommended him as the new Pro-Vice Chancellor in December 2014, and originally he would be taking up the post of Pro-Vice Chancellor in March 2015. But you said that the search committee handed in the report in June this year. It is completely contradictory. So I have a doubt whether you are lying.
I think the Vice Chancellor can confirm whether I'm lying or not. Because I'm not involved in the search committee and can only get the report when the search committee gives me the report.
So he's not lying. The report, so it's a recommendation from the search committee. So it's an analysis of the process, and it's an analysis of the selected candidate, and it includes letters of reference from external experts. I've seen all those letters of reference, and I'm responsible for the writing of the report. That report was written it was submitted to the June Council meeting, and that was the first time it was submitted to the June Council meeting. So the Council Chairman is not lying when he says that. That's the truth. The search committee has been meeting for well over a year. I'm the chairman of the search committee. It started its work very soon after I arrived, and it had reached a decision towards the end of 2014. I forget the exact date. But then what's required is taking up of international references. So we did that. That takes a little bit of time. And then by the time we were in a position to make a recommendation to Council, the issue of the donations had been raised, and there was a discussion amongst the search committee members about whether this would affect the timing of our taking our recommendation to Council or not. And we had a series of discussions, and there was a lot of disagreement in the search committee about that, and there were several occasions on which we voted. Fortunately, there's an odd number of people in the search committee, so when you have a vote, you usually get a decision. And we voted on a number of occasions whether we were ready to make a recommendation or not, and on each case the majority view was that we were not ready. And so when it came to a meeting right at the end of May, again we had that discussion, are we ready to make a decision or not? This time the majority view was that we were ready. And so that's why the paper was submitted to the June meeting. So the delay since June is because of the Council's decision. The delay before June is because the search committee haven't yet submitted the paper. That's the most public and honest description of the process that has ever been given. I hope you accept that we're giving you very frank information about what's supposed to be a confidential process, but we're doing so in the spirit of openness.
Professor Matheson, well, I'm not having a question, but I want to express my doubt towards your so-called authoritative report. Frankly speaking, the chaos today and the chaos in the past 6 months, the root reason is the Chancellor has immense power to influence university affairs. He has the power to appoint whoever council member he likes. Therefore, in the subsequent years, when CY Leung would like to intervene more into the affairs of Hong Kong U, you will have more and more adverse opinions. That's why we have to delay the appointment of the Vice President. This will not be a unique case, but you will face harder challenges ahead. And I doubt whether that report can change the composition of the council or the mechanism by the Chancellor to appoint his favourable council member. So I'm really worried that if we stop here, we will just succumb to Mr. CY Leung, and the whole council will be in his own hand. Yeah.
So let me just respond to that. I mean, you're entirely entitled to your opinion about anything that I've said or CH has said, and including about the authoritative report. I wouldn't preempt the report until I've read it. I mean, I don't know what it's going to say. It might say that the Chancellor should appoint all the members of the Council. I don't know what it's going to say. I doubt it'll say that, but I don't know what it's going to say. So I think we should wait and read it. I actually have a great deal of respect for the person that's been commissioned to do the report. He's called Sir Howard Newby. He's been the Vice-Chancellor of, I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 different British universities. So he's very experienced, and he's worked in a system in the UK that is regarded as free and independent. So he is somebody with experience in a sector where there should be some lessons to learn. He's also very internationally well known and well connected, and so he hasn't just studied the UK or Hong Kong. He studied other systems, and in fact his preliminary paper was based on the Australian university system, because there are some analogies there. So just one more thing, Sid. So I have respect for the person that's done the report. I have no idea what reaction there will be to the report. I have no idea whether UGC will change or whether the government will change their views or their positions in response to the report. I have no idea, no more than you do. But I'm not going to prejudge the report until I've read it. And then just the other thing I was going to say, this is a sort of an appeal from my heart, if you like, because this is something that I hope you might listen to. Can you just try and see things from my point of view? I came here on a 5-year contract to come and take up a position that I was very privileged to be offered, which is to lead a fantastic university. And I am very keen to do that to the best of my ability. I'm now more than 1/4 of the way through my 5-year term. I still don't have my senior team in place. I'm very concerned to make sure that we get on with the job. Those members of the senior team that I do have in place are all busily working on their portfolios. Just about a week or 10 days ago, there was a meeting of alumni leaders, and at that meeting, Professor Holliday, who's there, and Mr. Douglas So, who's here somewhere, who are the 2 vice presidents, the 2 new vice presidents who are both in place, each made a presentation on their portfolio. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed listening to them. It was exciting. I got the feeling that things are really happening, and I felt that we really are making progress. Now, we've got 2 more vice presidents that are about to start, so they'll have their portfolio, and at some stage soon they'll be in a position to give similar kinds of presentations. So for me, the excitement of leading Hong Kong U is only just beginning. I've been here long enough to have a good understanding of what the issues are and a good understanding of what I think we should try and achieve. I've now only got 3.5 years left of my 5-year term to try and achieve those things. So please, I do understand your strength of feelings. I do understand that you're impatient for change and that you see the need for action in order to achieve change, and that you're frustrated by the fact that things only change slowly. I understand all of that. And remember, I was young once as well. And so I understand the way you want things to change quickly. But please also see it from the point of view, it's nothing to do with me personally, but see it from the point of view of all the staff of the University of Hong Kong. This university is staffed by a group of highly dedicated, highly talented, committed people. They all want the same thing as you and me. They all want the University of Hong Kong to get better. They all want it to be strong and to be internationally recognised. So we're all trying to work for that. And if there are things about the current system that frustrate us, then we can work to try and change them. But we cannot stop the work of running the university whilst we do that. It'll take too long. And so we've got a job to do. We've got fantastic materials in terms of staff, students and facilities. We've got great ideas about what we should be doing. We want to put them into action, and we want to get on and do it without waiting for other things to change, which ultimately may change, but they're going to take some time.
One last word. I think CY will question us all. It's not us. It is not the people in this room who can work the way out. The problem is we are facing an external pressure. And even Dr. Leung, our senior statesman of Hong Kong, cannot resist this change. I've no idea, and I've no idea why you're so confident that you can work this out in the rest of the term. 2 years ago, I met in the meeting. I reminded you how malicious CY is, and you're not aware. And so I see no hope for us to resolve this within our university.
Well, I'm much more optimistic than you are. I am by nature an optimist. Some people would say I'm unreasonably optimistic. But I'm much more optimistic than you are, because I think there are some great things. There are some great things about the university and about the opportunities that they have. And no matter who the Chancellor is, or who the Chairman of Council is, or how many members of Council are appointed by the Chancellor, I'm still very optimistic that this university can do great things, whether I'm the President or not. I'm much more optimistic. I certainly don't think there's no hope. If I thought there was no hope, I wouldn't have come in the first place, or I would have left by now. I'm much more optimistic than you say.
I could give a little bit of history This council's composition was actually determined by the Nolan's report, which was about 10 years ago. Was it 10 years ago? Yeah, 10 years ago. It was at their suggestion that come to this. So basically, as Professor Madison had mentioned, the next report that will come out, which is done by Professor Newman, will probably come with something which you all can have a chance to comment on. And I'm sure the university will have a chance to come on and make our recommendation. So on that issue, I'm not as pessimistic. I might not be as optimistic as Peter, but I think there's a way that we will do some change somehow or the other. As far as my position is concerned, I think I'm now 76 years old. Why the hell do I want to do all this? There's only one reason. I'm a graduate of this good university. I want to do something to pay back this university something. You have seen what I've done in the past. You've seen what I've done at the 818 issue of trying to solve things and all that sort of thing. And you've seen me standing very firmly on this president, although there were a lot of arguments. Why should we have him and not somebody else? So all I can say is that give us a little bit of space so that I can push something that I've just mentioned to you about, that I would like to see a push of a time frame to get our Vice President of Academic Affairs and Resources. Now, I can't guarantee what the ultimate result is, whether it will be Mr. A or Mr. B or whatever, but I will make sure that I'll push for a time frame.
Chairman, I'm not going to discuss anything about the university ordinance, as well as the composition of the council. I'm pretty sure that there are many people in this room are going to mention this point in the latter part of this meeting. I would just like to focus on the point of the appointment of PhD SR. And you said that according to your timetable, the schedule, the provost, the SR, should be able to be appointed by the end of August. No matter
said I want the search committee's report to be finally discussed and decided with a time frame. Now, whether they will approve the recommendation is not up to me to say, but I'll make sure that will come up for discussion with a time frame.
I understand. Right. And you said that originally the reason that the council deferred the appointment is that they are very confident the council will be able to appoint the provost in August. So I'm thinking this way. It is possible that according your schedule, the search committee paper be handed into this council by the end of August. Because no matter the provost is selected or not, everything should be done by the end of August. So there's no any reason that you defer anymore.
Well, the reason why I wanted to define a time frame is that I don't want to defer any longer. Whether it's August, September, or even whatever, I don't know. So, I want to propose for members to agree, but the whole I'm saying exactly the same thing as you want. I want a deadline.
So, if your schedule is completely approved by the council, what will be the deadline of the appointment of ASR?
Well, I can only say that my deadline is to have that paper brought up to council to.
So what will be the deadline of the search committee to handling their recommendation?
Oh, the search committee has already handed the recommendation. It's not the council has not discussed it yet. I cannot give you.
When will the council handle the appointment?
Okay, I cannot. You see, I was just now trying to debate with council members on the dates, on the time.
What's your plan?
My plan is within 2 to 3 months. That's my plan. All right. Whether I can push on that, I'll do my best. But that's my plan.
I think first of all, you should sit down because if you don't know, most of the council members here haven't had anything since 4 o'clock, and it's already 11 or 12. You should also be Wait. You should also be considerate to people, and please don't really raise your voice too much. We also should respect the age. Of course, we are young people. We can try to voice our opinions, but at the end of the day, we should also have courtesy. And I think they will all be here until we stop asking the questions. And
so may I further my question? Please. And I think there are many members of the university would like to know what's the deadline that the council handle the appointment. So there is several requests I would like to make. First, can you promise that you will call a special meeting to discuss what your so-called schedule? The second, and actually we hope that the special meeting can be arranged in several days, maybe 3 days, 5 days. So, secondly, can you promise that if your schedule is that the ASR, the recommendation will be handled in this council by the end of August? Because if we don't have any, if we don't need to wait the provost, or according to what you said, whether the provost is appointed or not, we should handle the ASR, isn't it? So my request is, if your schedule should state that the ASR appointment should be handled by this council by the end of August. And the third thing is, if your schedule cannot be approved by this council, may you please resign from your position?
Okay, I think I can answer all these questions very easy. First of all, is that it is not for me alone within 2 or 3 days to call a meeting. Because for call a meeting of such a nature, I have to ensure that there are many council members to be present. If there are not enough council members to be present, it will not be. But I can promise you that I'll call a meeting as early as possible. Right? That's one thing. I cannot put the deadline because it's not up to me to decide. Second thing is that I will not be able to say August. I will only say that I will try to push 2 to 3 months because you've got to give leeway to people. All right? Third thing is, would I resign? resign is the easiest thing. But I would only resign if my resignation is good for the university. Tell me if my resignation is good for the university, then I resign.
Actually, for your last one, you mentioned that if you cannot make a successful appointments to the BBC, ASL, actually it's already a big loss to the university already. So would you resign from your position?
Well, what if the search committee's report somehow or the other, actually the search committee report will say that they have no recommendation? I don't know. I'm not privileged to know the search committee's report. So I cannot make that recommendation. I mean, my resignation has nothing to do with all this. I mean, I'm leaving the university council anyway by November.
I'll say that the very reason why we would like to ask all the council members to stay behind tonight is because we would like to know the rationale behind their votes. We understand that the motion of revoking the delay of the appointment has been defeated. And the reason why we need to put the council members before all of us and ask them, we could ask them questions like why they vote against the motion is because the votes they cast here is not publicized. Like we can't even know who actually votes and against. And I think that is the problem why every bit of our discussion here today may not help with the result. Because next time, the month after next, even until November when you are leaving us, they are going to delay the motion and they're not going to cast a core for the revocation. And that's the point why we are asking all of them to stay here today. But you've made your decision. You are going to bear this collective decision on yourself. I respect that, but I don't think this is for the best of the university. And I'm quite disappointed, to be frank. And concerning the question, the fellow HKSU executives have asked, I think what your answer has been given is not a definite schedule. You've just said that you would like to give us a time frame, which is 2 or 3 months, but what we can predict is that what's going to happen is another delay motion, maybe, and then what we are going to do is just a repetition of what we are doing today, because the members can still vote for the delay and then they leave, leaving you and Professor Matheson here to answer all our questions without telling us the rationale of why they are voting for the delay. So it is really a vicious cycle. So what I'm asking for is that even if you cannot call for a meeting that is going to meet the quorum, which means there will be no special meeting, I'm requesting you to ask all the council members to come to the council chamber for a discussion with us like this. At least they're going to tell us why they are making that decision. And I suppose they will be subject to a certain kind of public pressure, and they're going to listen to the comments on how ridiculous their decisions were. So yeah, this is my request.
Okay, Yvonne, I think you made some very reasonable there. I think I made a request that allow other council members to leave because of one reason. I believe that I, as chairman of council, would have a responsibility to make sure that all my other council members can do what they want after the council meeting, safe physically and mentally. This is exactly what I have in mind. I mean, I bear all the responsibility as the chairman of council, both in response to the public, to yourself, and also the council members. That's point number one. I believe you have to somehow or the trust that I'll do my best to push what's over time frame. Now, I'll explain to you my possible time frame, all right? Now, whether this is accepted by other council members, I don't know, but this is what I have in mind. If the Vice Chancellor can come up with a proposal by our August meeting, immediately that proposal can give, now it doesn't need that he comes on duty. If he's being appointed, he immediately can give his opinion on the recommendation of search committee. and then can go to council by September. All right. What if, for whatever reason, the vice chair cannot come up with a proposal? I will still try to push as September as a date where the people will come up for discussion. This is my point. Now, this is my proposal. I have to stress. You will need ultimately councilship, and I will promise you that I'll try my best to push for it. All right.
I'm very reluctant to tie the hands of the Provost Search Committee, which I also chair. The Search Committee has a job to do for this university which is extremely important. It has to find a suitable candidate to be the Provost, so the second in command, if you like, in academic terms, of the university for an initial period of 5 years. So it's a very long-term commitment, and it's a very senior role with very important decision-making powers, as well as being a member of the senior management team that I also chair. So that process is extremely important for the University of Hong Kong. I don't want to, I'm reluctant to say that I'll guarantee to try and find a provost by a particular date, because I have to find somebody suitable, I and my colleagues on the search committee. Now, as everybody knows, we are at a very advanced stage of that process. We are down to shortlisted candidates. So it's possible, and this is why the August thing has come up, because I was asked at the last meeting, what's the earliest date that you think you'll know who your chosen candidate of the provost is? And my answer was, the earliest possible date that I'll know a name would be August. Now, that's not the same as having appointed somebody. You may or may not know the details, but once you know the name of your preferred candidate, it then takes several months sometimes to get to the point where I would be ready to make a recommendation to council for the appointment of that person, because you have to have discussions with them about their salary, about their conditions, about who they want to bring with them, about their research group, or other sort of aspects of the process. And in one of the vice president posts that's already been completed, that process took quite a long time. So I answered the question honestly. The earliest time I think a name might be known is August, but I don't think I can guarantee by any sense that that person will be confirmed by any particular date. It might take months. And then there's the issue of when they actually start, and then there's the issue of after they've started, how long it would take them to really be able to assess whether or not they need the Vice President ASR to help them or not. So I'm very reluctant to answer your question, Yvonne, by saying, oh, we can make this decision, the provost will be known by August or September or whatever, and we can make the decision then. Because I think that limits the flexibility of the appointments committee for the provost, which is a very important post. So that's my reason for reticence about tying to a particular date. The proposal that Council Chairman referred to came right at the end of the meeting, which was, can we agree a timetable to discuss the paper, irrespective of whether or not a provost has been appointed. That was going to be discussed, and there were different views in the council about that, and we didn't get as far as having a vote because the meeting was adjourned before we got to that stage. But that is for the discussion of the paper. That's not the same thing as the finalisation of the appointment, because council has the right, within the rules, to decide not to accept the recommendation of the search committee. I reiterate that they have not done that yet, because they haven't discussed it, but they do have the right to do that. So if that happens in August or September or October or whenever, then obviously we still don't have a provost, and we've still got to look for a new one. We have an interim provost who is prepared to serve for as long as the university needs him, and is very capable of doing the job. So the provost position, in my opinion, is separate, and I think the timetable of the provost position shouldn't be compromised by linking it to pressure to resolve the other post, because I think that could lead to an outcome that's not in the best interest of the university. I don't know about everybody else, but I think we need to decide on how we're going to bring this evening to a close. I mean, we're not going to satisfy your wishes, clearly, because there are things that you would like us to do or say that we can't do. But I think we've had a very honest opportunity to try and answer your questions and try and admittedly not all the council as you would have liked, but a reflection of the council. There are other council members here as well. In the spirit of openness and a dialogue, I think we have offered you an opportunity to have a debate and to ask us questions. I don't feel as if now we're making a lot of progress, because I think you're not satisfied with the situation, and we're telling you that we can't do what you'd like us to do. So I think we're going to have to call it a halt at some stage, because we've all, I've got meetings tomorrow morning with important people. I don't want to be up half the night and then not able to carry out my duties properly tomorrow. So I think we do need to bring it to an end in some way. And I would suggest, maybe, I don't know, if we say 11:30 or we say 12 o'clock, we should have a time point in mind whereby we stop, because I think to be reasonable to everybody, we're going to have to accept that we won't resolve everything tonight.
I think I would appeal to fellow alumni, students, that give us a little bit of hongkan, so that if you agree to a certain extent, let me and the president try to push this time frame. I think that's the best that I can actually promise you that I will try my best to do. Because giving me that, and I'll work on that and see what we can do. My suggestion, as I mentioned to you just now, is whatever it is, if we can have approvals, fine. We'll make a decision, but it will still be in September. If we do not approve approvals, fine. We'll still do it. We'll still bring it up to council to discuss that recommendation paper in September. So that's, I hope members will be satisfied and give me at least that sort of openness to be able to push that forward.
Chairperson, because some of their members and some of our students and some of even the public capture a photo that a lot of police are entering the campus of Hong Kong U. That's to be very unacceptable, and I guess to every one of you here are very unacceptable as well. Can any of the senior officials explain why there are police in the campus? And this is definitely violating academic freedom and the high autonomy owned by Hong Kong students and Hong Kong, any stakeholders of Hong Kong. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I have no idea that there's police here. I think I agree with you entirely that Hong Kong U is Hong Kong U issue and affairs. And unless, for example, if somebody breaks some window or someone breaks something, then we will not be getting police.
Yeah, Chairman, I can say something. Chairman, I can say something.
Yes.
Yeah, the police were called to assist the ambulance. The police were called to allow the ambulance to leave. There was an ambulance down there, as you know. CMO, the surgeon, was really quite badly hurt, and he got hurt again, subsequently going down. And another council member, Aisha, she was taking oxygen as well. So they've been trapped for 40 minutes in an ambulance. So what we asked the police to do was to provide an escort so that the ambulance could get off the premises effectively. And that's what it did.
Because what we heard, we knew that a lot of police had gathered outside 10th floor, which is definitely
no, there's no police on the 10th floor.
No. There are a lot of police on the 10th floor, and there are LG1 and there are police. And when it was 3 and 4 p.m. and there already are a lot of police.
Aisha was trapped in her car on LG1, outside LG1 for 40 minutes, and she was suffering with this oxygen deprivation. And then the ambulance pulled up outside LG2. That's where we tried to get all out. CMO was taken out through LG2. And the police have now gone, as far as I know. They're certainly not on the 10th floor.
I think we have photos that on the second amount for example like 6 police cars. But for just detaining one ambulance and then
I don't know about the police tactics, but that's what they were asked to do, was to
and there are more than 6 police cars that are around our campus.
I don't know.
I think what they're saying is that we would like to have a comment on what do you think about there's a lot of police on campus or around the campus.
Unreasonable amount, you are saying.
Instead of what they have done.
they may not call like you guys, but why and then how you comment on it?
Well, I think the chairman's already expressed the comment, and I think if there are too many police here, then we would certainly want to scale that down. But we have to ensure the safe passage of an ambulance. I mean, that was the primary intention of calling them, for the sake. You weren't down there. I saw what it was like. It was really quite bad.
Thank you, Dr. Professor, and I'd like to make some comments on my previous request, and that what you said that is no matter the provost is appointed on August or not, you think that according to your schedule, the appointment of SR should be moved forward?
Not the appointment of SR, the paper for recommendation. I don't know whether...
Handling of appointment of SR should be moved forward. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, and what Professor said that is there is doubt that whether the appointment of provost can be made on August. So that's clear. And can I request that you stated it in your schedule that the handling of appointments of SR should be done by the end of September. After the council know that whether they can appoint the provost on August or not.
Well, you're talking about the same language as I do, but I want to change it a little bit. Because I, as chairman, cannot say you must. I'm going to discuss with council members and I want to push them.
Will this be your plan?
This, I've told you. And actually this was my plan before you people came in.
I mean the details, not the concept.
Well, that's the detail. The detail is that I do hope a provost can come on board and then we can tap his or her expertise or comment in August and have the paper come up in September for decision. If, as Professor Bell said, he might have difficulty, then I said, fine, since we are not delaying for the sake of delay, let's bring it up in September. Now I'm going to propose that. Now whether council members would totally agree, I don't know, I can only try my best.
Okay, after one. And secondly, and you know, endorsing your schedule needs a council meeting.
Yes.
So, can you promise that there will be an emergency meeting within 2 weeks?
No, I'm not going to promise you that because to me September is a good time where I can push at the August meeting because August meeting give me a very good leeway. August they may come with a name and I can use it that immediately to say September we decide on that.
Okay, then the next council meeting will either be held in Admiralty, within the government headquarters or inside police station. So please do not put that hope on the council. And after Arthur become the council chairman, I think all of us cannot enter this room anymore.
Can I respond to that? As far as I am chairman of this council, council meeting will be in this university.
Soon.
Well, I cannot promise anything else.
Do you support Arthur as the council chairperson?
It's not for me to support or the chairman. Unfortunately, in the same thing as I am, you see the statute of Hong Kong University is that the chairman of the council of the University of Hong Kong is appointed by the chancellor.
So this is the problem.
Law.
That's why we burn the university statute and the ordinance. This is the root problem.
Well, I don't think I can argue with you on that. I think Professor Bennett and myself do have some hope that we could discuss the conversation with this
with CY, right?
No, with this newbie report coming out. We both of us have confidence that we can use that as a stepping stone to debate on that. How effective is it? We don't know. And I've given you an example. This council's composition was determined after the Nolan's report came to all the university. All right? But all I can promise you is that as far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm the chairman, the meeting of the council will be held in the university campus in this room.
Chairman, I'm so sorry, but after I've entered the room, I didn't see you answering any of any students' questions directly. All you were doing are running in circles, playing word games, and trying to
Why don't
escape
you ask
from
me
the
a direct question, see whether I can answer you or not?
I would like to ask, why can't
any of the council members tell us the rationale of the voting results in front of students in the same place, if we can guarantee that no any fouls would happen to them, we won't give them any mental pressure or physical pressure. Why can't they tell us the rationale behind voting? We're the students, we're one of the, we're part of the school, we deserve to know what is happening.
I cannot answer you directly, you have to ask the council members. So all I'm saying is that...
But you're the chairman, I thought you would have the authority or you would have the right to ask them if they would enter. We cannot actually ask them because most of them have left the room. What should we do?
I think, I don't want to go back and say otherwise you are saying that I'm going in circles. I talked to the chairman of the USU and I told him my reason, and that is as a chairman I've got a responsibility to these council members, and I therefore plead that you let them leave before I start talking to you, and also the media. That's my request, and the request apparently was granted.
Sorry, I would like to use some words as an individual of the member of the community of Hong Kong. After the incident has been lost for 6 months, and all what students have heard so far was only explanation and explanation and explanation. And always excuses, excuses, and excuses. We tuned out for a lot of time, didn't get an answer that we think are acceptable. And again today, I'm sure that even no matter how long the meeting goes, you won't answer any of our questions directly, or you will go, as we said, it's playing word game. Of course, you can make a lot of promises. You can say, I will make plans in a few months, and then by then we will know that's not going to come true.
I already gave a very strong commitment myself that I'll push for the discussion of the Philippine paper on the Vice President by September. I'll push for that. But I can only push my very best. That's my promise to you. How can you say that I've not made any promises?
Usually it's the last two questions because it's time run out, and then we understand that it maybe doesn't have any resolution or any promise to make here. So now just offer like 2 last questions.
Hi, Dr. Leung. First thing, as we need to receive an answer whether we can endorse your proposal or not by council. So can you promise that you will be calling actually an extraordinary council meeting, not by a certain limit of time before the August one? Because the probable result would be if you discuss the plan in August, following the appointment in September, whether or not the provost will be appointed or whether or not the provost will be decided, then probably time limit will be another concern for that meeting, because they need to discuss the appointment 1 month after they decided in August meeting. So probably August will not be a good time for you to endorse the plan, right? So my suggestion is that you promise that you will start to call for an extraordinary council meeting, which is not at the same time in August, that one, but much before that. And I know that requires agreement from different council members as well. But that's your endeavor, that's the way that you can do to call for an extraordinary council meeting, right? So that's the first thing. And second thing, that you can promise us that you are going to push for your proposal and make it public that the reason why these kind of proposals are banned or if they're banned, why they're banned by the council members in the next meeting.
Well, I think you've asked 2 questions that I cannot answer. How can I ask? All I can do is give all my reasons to say I want it in September. But how can I insist that they have their reasons exposed?
I mean, you just endeavor to call for an extraordinary council meeting before
I tell you why. Actually, to be very frank with you, if the thing just now did not happen, I would have already called September to stop. I have confidence that I would have called September.
But we're looking forward, right? So
yeah, well, you're looking forward. So I can do a few things. Why did I say
the August meeting would be a good time because the August meeting, the Vice Chancellor could work by that time saying, we cannot have a provost by then. I'm more determination. Or the Vice Chancellor can say, yes, there's a possibility of coming. We really get his statement coming in September. That's the reason. I want a more forceful ammunition for myself. I could do a lot of things. I could even circulate a paper tomorrow and ask members to agree on a September meeting for a September issue.
You're originally proposing it. You originally planned to propose it at the end of this meeting.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So probably if you propose it in, it'll be too late for your proposal. Because if you propose it this way for an extraordinary council meeting, then probably we will have just 1 month, and that would most probably be a reason against your decision. So why not? And they
suggestion, if I can. Firstly, I can't remember the exact date in August, but it'll be the last Tuesday of the month already. So that date should be in people's diary. It's in my diary. It's in his diary. So that meeting people should already be able to attend that meeting. And we have a thing called a quorum, whereby sets 8. No, the number is quorum. 8. So if there are 8 members that are able to come to that meeting, then decisions made at that meeting are binding. Okay, so we have to find 8 people that can come to a meeting. And I would suggest that there's no advantage in calling an additional meeting in August, because if the target is to discuss it in September, and I don't know whether the Council's going to accept that or not, but if that's the target, then actually the existing that can be raised and voted upon, and then if the decision is yes, we'll discuss it in September, it'll be the next meeting. And one other thing I would say is that if that decision is made, what I would advocate is that council members are given the opportunity in the month between them to read relevant papers, so that they can come under confidential circumstances. Yeah. So they can't say that they can't discuss. If the decision is let's discuss it in September, irrespective of whether the provost is appointed, was meeting, without the need to call. I mean, if you call an urgency, they should know about that. So they won't. Many at least. Yeah. I mean, and I do my very best, and I think other council members do as well, to try and be here for council meetings because they're important occasions. So be here unless I drop dead between now and then. I'll be here for the council meeting at the end of August, and I'm pretty confident that 7 other members of council will be there. So there should be a great meeting of council at the end of August that can discuss that proposal. And then if that proposal is agreed, there's a mechanism which I ensure that the discussion then happens in September, because we could opportunity. The paper's ready. The paper's already in the hands of the council secretariat. There's a whole month when they can come and read it. And they can come as long as they like, for as many times as they like. And then in September, everybody is in a position to have the discussion. Billy should have the last. I don't know all the facts, is the honest answer to that, Billy. I mean, the incursion into the Senate room, it probably breaks some kind of rules. I don't know whether there are strict rules about incursion into the Senate room, but certainly in the time I've been here, it's never happened before. So I don't know what rule that breaks, and I don't know what the penalty should be for it. My personal opinion is that welcome dialogue with the student body. I think you're the elected member that sits on council. Aloysius is the member of postgraduate students. So we have members of council who have every speak and vote and convey. So I would strongly advocate that we use the established. He's concerned that he doesn't always do at council, and this is another way of demonstrating the strength of your opinions. So I respect the students' right to express their opinions. I appeal to them, as I did earlier on this evening, to do so in a safe and rational way, and I repeat that appeal now. We've still got probably quite a lot more time this evening because there's press outside, there's other people downstairs, so we've all got to get out of the building and go home safely. We've already had one person leaving the scene in an ambulance and another person leaving on oxygen, and I don't think that's good. I don't think that's constructive. I don't think that makes good publicity for the University of Hong Kong. So I can't give you the guarantee you're looking for because I don't know the facts. On the basis of do we respect students' right to express their opinion, my attitude is yes, we do. We ask them to do it rationally, and we ask them to be aware of safety, not just of themselves, but other people as well. And a very healthy aspect of should be tolerated and should be celebrated and shouldn't be suppressed or crushed. And that applies to your opinions, my opinions, and everybody else in the room. So not everyone feels the same about this. We shouldn't shout louder or stop people from getting in or out of rooms or put them in physical danger because we disagree with their views. I don't think that's a constructive way to proceed.
Can you promise us not to be arrested for coming into this room? Because there are actually police holding flags that is actually threatening to arrest us if we keep on doing so. Please make a promise for our safety as the Vice Chancellor of...
Sorry, let me just... So apparently there are police cars still in the vicinity. What I mentioned that I've got called to, neither I didn't, obviously I've been here, but none of the security staff called the police. They were called in order to escort the ambulance away. So if the ambulance is now going, I guess they've done the job they were called to do. I mean, you asked about, can I guarantee you won't be arrested for coming in here? I think it probably breaks some university rule into the council chamber. If someone's been violent or broken something or put somebody else in danger, then those are potentially criminal offences. And one thing I've said ever since the first day I got appointed here, in fact before I got appointed, is that everybody has to be responsible. And the people have to understand the consequences of their actions. You're free to go out, and the same applies to every level of criminal offence below murder. So you're all adults. We like to treat our students as adults. Adults have to be responsible for their actions. The specific question about coming in here, I don't regard that as a criminal offence. I think it's very unlikely any police officer would try and arrest you for doing that.
Actually, just like a direct answer. Would the university look into it and then to call police to arrest a direct answer? Would the university do so?
Just let me get your question. Would the university call the police to arrest people for coming in here? No. That's a direct answer for you.
In the future, so in the next, let's say in the next extraordinary meeting.
Because we have a thing called the risk assessment team, which make decisions about what level of risk there is and what the appropriate. If there were people with, let's take it to the ridiculous extreme, there were people with guns here, then we'd have to have somebody to defend guns. So I can't guarantee you that there won't be somebody to defend us against guns, because I don't know for sure there aren't going to be guns. So I can't give you a guarantee, but what I will guarantee you is that we regard the sanctity of the council game and the sanctity of the university premises as very, very important. And as I said, as far as I'm aware, because there was an ambulance that needed to get out, and you know I'm a medic, and get him into an ambulance, and that took a very long time to get him out and get him into. So just from a purely medical sort of humanitarian point of view, assessment team meeting, that incident is going to have to.
I'm not sure how things spread out, and those things happen. Throwing. So it would be nice if we have Hong Kongese students, some alumni, but I think we can ask the questions. We have all the right to ask the questions. We can try and do it in their own fashion, but not really think. At the end of the day, we will be held responsible for almost what, like as students we can do whatever we want, but nobody should interfere with us. Maybe pro-camp or pro-democratic camp or pro-China camp.
Elected members on the council. So, I mean, again, we have a particular issue that we've all been talking about, but actually the council makes decisions on lots of other things by people coming in who are not entitled to be members of council. You, Billy, are elected to represent the student voice, and I strongly suggest to you that you and your use that elected representation to represent your views. And the alumni other members, because they don't have elected representatives on the council. As it happens, there are a couple in terms of your voice on council, and I would suggest you use it.
Actually, our conversation here is about vision. That's part of the council members would just use the means of like the convention, like to have those police force cannot get in, and the university should protect our safety instead of letting those with criminal acts to enter the university. So actually, we would like to do so. And I guess if there's no any further questions, our FEL conversation would end here. So any final promise to students?
Well, I think both Peter Medicine and myself is given all heartfelt feelings when people who do what we've just mentioned, do whatever I can to push whatever if it's the best interest of the city.
So everyone knows it's no promise at all. Thank you very much.
I think I'm both bit unfortunate that I make some very specific.
Thank you very much.